Send.
We are live at the Hangout in the Metal Voice Studios. Special guest today,
Yes.
like always, Blaze Bayley.
Blaze Bayley.
With his new album. Jim, talk about his new album.
Well, where do we leave off last time?
Yeah,
this is where we left off last time.
One of the hardest working guys.
This is where we left off. And for everybody who's just joining now, we're starting 5 minutes early like usual. Just to get settled in our chair, Alan. I got one of these. Here we go, getting settled. We're going to get Blaze on in a few minutes. So, folks, this is where we left off. With Blaze.
First installment of a trilogy, as Blaze explained to us.
Yep.
And now the second installment, Endure and Survive.
Endure and Survive.
Is out.
Yes. Let's do a test. Can everybody hear us?
Right in.
Right in if you can hear us. What do you guys think of Metallica at the Grammys? Well, I guess before he gets on, what do you think of Metallica at the Grammys?
I don't watch the Grammys.
Yeah, you know what? I watched a replay after. Hey, Gary. I watched a replay after. I thought it was an embarrassment. I don't know.
You know, on our website.
Yes.
Are you the one that wrote the criticism?
Yes, that was me.
That was very well said.
Thank you very
Back
much.
in the 80s, would they have played with Madonna? That was an interesting take on it, Jim. I have to admit, I enjoyed reading that.
Yeah, many people did. So on the Metal Voice website, I critiqued the Lady Gaga.
Jim was a little
upset. Here
upset.
comes Blaze. Here we go. Here's the man.
We've got Blaze.
There's
Hello? Hello?
We are live.
Why are you phoning me?
Rumor has it there's a new album out, and we would like to talk to you about it.
Yes, here it is. Here is the new album.
Hey, let's take a look. Bring it close. Bring it close. Wow. Take a look at the back.
That is an actual CD.
Wow.
Yeah, we've still got them in Europe. There
Physical.
you go. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, Blaze, do you still have an HMV in Europe?
Yeah, we've got one somewhere.
They just went bankrupt in Canada.
Yeah, I heard. Well, bankrupt? That just told me they're going to give me extra shelves in the UK. That's terrible. I hope they don't go bankrupt in the UK, because otherwise that's a waste of £5.
Yeah, I went to HMV, by the way, in Canada. They're closing all the stores, and it's very depressing. It's just the end of an era. The end of an era.
It is, but it's been changing, man. It's been changing for a long time. We've had videos, we've had DVDs, we've had games there, and the music section in HMV has gone down and down and down. With all the really great streaming services for TV now, how can I make a living?
Yeah. Well, the good news is you're self-sufficient. You sell the albums direct, right? You go to your website.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
And that's how you make a living. And let's get to the new album right off the bat. I got questions.
Just to add to what you were saying, the quality, Blaze, of what you're doing, like the artwork, you're doing it all yourself. You see some people starting out where the quality is not quite there, but you're top notch all the way through.
Oh, thank you very much. I think, it's a different time now. Years ago, well, nearer when I started, if you bought out your own album, people would say, they've done that because they can't get a record deal. They're not good enough. Now you bring out your own album and people go, oh, they've chosen to do that instead of get a record deal. And we have the tools now, and they're not so expensive as they used to be years ago, that we can do proper professional results. For a low cost, we can do it ourselves now. We don't need so much training. We have great software programs to do music and to do graphics. Years ago, you would have to have such an expensive computer to run any kind of graphics program, any design thing, and everything was done by hand years and years ago, so they really had you. It was almost like you had to use the record company, but now it's not that way. Now, if you learn all of the other tools or you have a friend that can do it, you've got a very good chance of doing your own thing.
That's what Steve Grimmett said, too, when we interviewed him recently. The same thing. He was able to do Walking in the Shadows, the last Grim Reaper album, and he controlled everything. He was able to do everything in-house.
Yeah, we've done it. Well, we use a fantastic studio in Birmingham called Rob Anna's studio, which is very well established. And it's a great vibe there. It's a big rehearsal complex and a professional recording studio. And I love going there. It's only about 25 minutes from my home if there's no traffic. And it's great to go to work somewhere. And it's full of all different sorts of bands, from reggae to young bands, student bands to more established guys and covers bands, massive complex, and all sorts of different people record there. So there's a real energy to the place. So I'm very lucky to have that resource so close to my home.
Hey, Blaze, just when you jumped on, we were just discussing Metallica and Lady Gaga's performance at the Grammys. Were you able to catch any of that?
No, I'm sorry, but I was not invited to this year's Grammys.
Neither are we.
So, no, I'm sorry, I wasn't there. I think I was actually doing a concert. Where was I? Was it this weekend or last weekend?
Last weekend. Last week.
I was in Malta. I was in Malta, wasn't I?
There you go.
Far, they probably, someone asked me to go to the Grammys, and I said, no, I'm in Malta. So forget about it. Yeah.
Okay, let's as we talk about the new album that will be released on March the 3rd, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
The new album, the tour begins right after. Actually, the tour doesn't end ever. But the new album's released.
Keep going.
Endure and Survive. We've heard the first track. It's a great segue into the new album, right? The production sounds great. The vocals sound great. It's melodic, a bit epic, I would say. I mean, it's got a sort of a Blaze Bayley sound with a little bit of a Maiden sort of. I don't know if you think so, Alan. A little bit of a Maiden influence there.
It's classic Blaze.
Classic Blaze.
Well, I can't help but be influenced by Iron Maiden. I was with them for 5 years, and I learned so much about songwriting from Steve Harris. He's an absolute master. He's a genius when it comes to writing huge songs and interpreting lyrics and melodies and putting things together and creating a mood. And I learned so much from him when I was writing with him and recording with him. It was absolutely great.
Here comes some questions. You ready? I'm going to be firing the questions as we talk and we chit chat, right, Alan? Just a little chit chat, and we'll be firing off the questions. Here we go. Okay. Your favorite from Kuba Kid. Kubaki.
From what?
From Kubaki Kid. These are the names that they have.
It's a Star Wars thing because I'm a heavy metal singer.
Kubaki. Favorite Maiden song to sing live?
Well, it's different, really. It varies because they're like old friends. So if one hasn't been in the set for a while and it comes back, then it feels good. At the moment, we haven't done the Klansman for a while, and that's come back into the set, and that is a great song.
Made our top 10 list.
Yeah.
Top 10 Maiden songs on the Hearing a Metal Voice, the Klansman.
How about, here's another question. I just lost it, not counting. What is the current album you're listening to today? Some current albums, some new music that you're listening to today.
Yeah, I'm listening to this album.
Right there.
I'm listening to this because I've got to learn all the lyrics and the songs for the live set. So that's it. That's what I'm listening to most of the time. If there's any other time left to listen to music, then I'm listening to Sabaton and Disturbed. And I've had that Disturbed album on for so long, I get a bit down sometimes. I just put on that Disturbed album, picks me right up, and Sabaton as well. So those are the two other albums that I'm listening to. But I'm forced to listen to my own album until the tour gets going.
Well, speaking of the new album, Kevin wants to know the new CD, the booklet, the Ultimate Membership Contest. Will the members be written on the new booklet of the CD?
Well, what I do is I have different levels of membership, and if you want, you can have your name in the booklet. So you pay a little bit extra, and of course all that money goes towards the recording, and then you have your name in the booklet of one of the people that has supported a little bit more directly. And there it is.
There it is.
That's
So-
all. That's the names of everybody.
Kevin, find your name, Kevin.
Yeah, if you can't, well, you'll find it soon enough because it's being posted to you very, very soon. So, yeah, so that's what we do. We have different levels, and some people pay a little bit extra. They have their name in the booklet, and then some people pay a little bit extra, and they get some special merchandise and some other perks that we have. And all of that extra money that people pay goes towards the recording and the artwork, and taking a lot of pressure off me when I'm in the studio. It enables me to have a full 14 days available for mixing at the end. It enables me to have a week between the end of recording and the start of mixing where I just don't have to be in the studio, and that space is very important. So everybody that supports me with the membership editions, I just say thank you so much for taking the pressure off, and their contributions really make a difference towards the quality of the album.
You know, you mentioned Sabaton too. They're out there. They're probably the only ones I can think of that are touring more than you, or equally as well as you.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're fairly independent as well. They have a lot to do with their own management, and they're very much fans first. And that philosophy is, I think, one that we share. It's always trying to remember what the fans expect as value, and remembering when you are a fan of somebody, like I'm still a fan of, I'm a fan of Sabaton, and I'm also, you know, a fan of Disturbed, then, and what you expect as a fan, and what's good value and what's not. And I think these are things that if you know, keep that in your mind and in your heart, it makes a difference. And that's why Sabaton, I think, have kind of sneaked up in the music business, and people go, oh, they're big. Oh, well, yeah, they haven't been in magazines that much or whatever. Well, they did talk to their fans.
Speaking of Sabaton, they were opening up for the band Accept, and now it's the other way around. That's how much.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's absolutely great.
So here's another question. Let's go to the question. I know people are waiting here.
Oh,
Christian wants to know, after your time in Iron Maiden, I read that there was you got offered a job as a singer in Oliver Dawson Saxon, right? Oliver Dawson Saxon.
Yeah.
And also in other bands. So I wonder, is it true? And if so, what other bands?
I think I was offered an audition for a band called Brainstorm. And also it was an audition I was offered with Oliver Dawson Saxon. He never came right out and said, oh, you know, really want you to, you know, we'd love you to come and be the singer. They offered me audition. So I was, you know, at that time I was to and fro in which way I should go. It was right after Maiden. I had quite a bit of fan mail come through which said, please carry on. And I was really committed to these ideas that I had for my Silicon Messiah album. And I thought, well, if I did join somebody else's band, then would I be able to do these ideas the way I want them, or would I have to put them on the back burner to do myself at some other point? So that was really, I kind of convinced myself that I really wanted to do my own thing. I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but I've done my own thing and I've carried on doing it. I've just kept going, really, and I'm lucky enough. I've worked with a lot of wonderful musicians, and people hire me to do guest vocals on their albums and to sing songs for them on their recordings. And I'm very, very lucky that I get to work with all these incredible musicians. And now it feels that it was perhaps the right decision that I carried on to do my own thing, even though it's been a real struggle at times and it's just been up and down. Now it feels that since we did the compilation, the Soundtracks of My Life Best Of, And since we did the Silicon Messiah anniversary tour, things have really become solid. And I have really great support from fans all over the world. So it feels good. And now I'm on the second part of this trilogy, which has turned out to be a huge idea. And the ideas that we've come up with feel really good. People that have listened to the first song, which is a single on iTunes now, Endure and Survive, people that have listened to that and seen the video really seem to be enjoying it. Fans who have the first album, Infinite Entanglement, and have listened to the new song really feel a connection between the two. So I'm very, very excited. And I think the next dates that we have is in Scotland. It's in Glasgow on Wednesday, the 1st of March. And quite a few people should have the album by then. So I'm very, very excited about that show.
With everything you released just on your solo side, how do you fit all these songs into a set list? We're getting a lot of questions about what the set list is going to look like. I mean, you're almost at the point where you don't even have to play Maiden songs.
Let's rephrase that.
We're struggling because it's very hard.
How many songs from the new album will be on the set list? How's that?
Normally, we have between 4 and 6. And as the tour goes on, then we will add new ones in. As we feel that more people are familiar with the new album, we'll often add new ones in. So sometimes we'll end up with 6 new songs in the set list, which is what we used to do when I was in Iron Maiden. That was a normal thing that we did. It is very hard, and there are songs from the last album, from the Infinite Entanglement album, that we never played on the tour that we'd love to play on this tour, but it's very, very hard to fit them in, and everybody has a favorite. What we've done is at my Facebook, the official Blaze Bayley Facebook, we put on there, right, which song would you most like to see in the tour set list? And we've kind of taken a poll from that, and we're bringing back a couple of songs that people have specifically asked for that seem to be more popular. But I think next time what we'll do is we'll actually say to people, when they order the CD, right, write down one song that you really want to hear, and then we'll add it all up. It'll be much easier for the set list.
All right, here we go. I got lots of questions. I'm getting bombarded right now, Blaze. Bombarded. So let's try to answer these questions.
Yeah.
All right. Brody wants to know, in Maiden, were all the members nice to you throughout your tenure, or did you butt heads with any of them?
Yeah, everybody was nice. You know, you're living in close proximity, just the same as we do when we're on tour now with the guys from Absolver. Then, yeah, but everybody was nice. Everybody makes an effort to get on. And, you know, things are very professional. The thing is, you're in the top part of the game, you know, you're in the major leagues. And what is expected is absolutely to be on your best game at every show that you do. So that's it. Everybody is focused on that. Everybody's focused on being the best that they can be and playing the best that they can play together as a band all of the time that you're on tour. So I think that's a different way to look at things, and it's certainly something that I've tried to carry on since Maiden as a very good lesson. There's not a drop of alcohol before a Maiden show. Nobody, you don't see anybody getting bent out of shape after the show. So I think it's something that I've carried on. But yeah, I got on very well with everybody. Some people may think it's strange, you know, but I got on very well with Bruce before and after Iron Maiden, and when I was in Iron Maiden. You know, Bruce Dickett has been a great supporter for me, and he's really championed my solo work. So he's been absolutely great, you know, and he gave me a lot of encouragement as well.
I know you were on his radio show. back when, right? When Bruce had a radio show in the UK. I remember you appeared on it. Is that right?
Yes, before they started all these horrible cuts at the BBC.
Yeah. Okay.
He had his own show on BBC Six, and it was a great show that went worldwide. You could listen to it anywhere, and it was one of the only worldwide metal shows that was broadcast. And it was a weekly show that he did, and it was a great show.
I know the last time you hear you say you're still a fan of the band and you got on well, but here's a longtime viewer, Rodney. In your time with Iron Maiden, which former bandmate were you closest to and why?
Well, I suppose I was closest to Steve, really. With writing so much together, and he was like a mentor to me and took me under his wing, and places, countries that I hadn't been before with ways and customs different to our own. He would advise me of the obvious pitfalls and the things that perhaps it would be best to avoid talking about. And so really I got on best with Steve. I think we spent most time together, but I think it was a musical thing as well. We enjoyed writing together, and I had so much respect for him as a musician and a writer, and of course a great soccer player.
And it's funny, is there any truth in the Run to the Hills biography of Iron Maiden, the authorized biography?
No, it's a complete fabrication. That's like a comic book. Yeah, look, the classic thing, that is fake biography. There's nothing is true in there.
Fake news. No, but Nico, of all people, were worried about you joining a band because you're a little wild.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've got that reputation, but that comes from my Wolfsbane days. I was a young man, and I was wild. I was crazy, but those were the days that we were living in. I didn't have family or kids or anything like that. I was young, fit, healthy, incredibly attractive, and
modest.
So that was it. Yeah, I did have that reputation, and I am. At times I'm a larger than life character. But that's it. I think what he didn't know about me was my passion for singing and my passion for music. And that doesn't always come over in the kind of interviews that the press did with us in the UK. They're more sensational. They're looking for characters and things like this, and they want to big up these things. And you may say as a joke, then I remember I did one interview and they were phoning me about 10 o'clock in the morning and said, "Hey, Blaze, what you doing?" I said, "I'm drinking vodka. It's breakfast time." And then the next thing is talking to Blaze Bayley after an early morning vodka binge. It was a joke, but that's what I got stuck with,
It's all right. It's okay. Here's another question from Keith, and it's a little more serious. I know you're very open about your health issues, and again, if you would choose to answer it or not, how on a day-to-day basis does your mental health issues affect you? What helps you when you're in the middle of some sort of depressive spiral or not?
Well, yeah, it is a daily thing, and sometimes the days are very tough, and sometimes gradually climbing out and being a bit more positive and getting a bit more energy, it's not so tough. But it's looking at the edge of that cliff. It's knowing where the edge is and knowing that you're getting dragged towards it, and there are things that you can do to kind of dig in and stop yourself going into that depression. And those are the techniques that I've learned after counselling and seeing the psychologist and all of these psychiatrists and everything. And yeah, it does affect me on a daily basis, but it also goes in waves. It'll go that sometimes you'll be up on a level and you'll manage to maintain that level with a few dips, and then sometimes that's it. There's just a series of events that will just drag you down, and you feel like, well, I feel like I just can't go on, and that's it. Well, yeah, it's the same for anybody with mental health issues. I think we all struggle with these things. I try to, basic, simple things is take B vitamins regularly, just like medication, and of course drink enough water, and just try and look for the obvious pitfalls. Try not to drink at stupid times. Don't drink anywhere near as much alcohol or as often as I used to do, and really try and tag things and go, is this a mental health thing, or is this just a hangover? Is this because I didn't sleep properly for 3 or 4 days because of the regime we're on and the way the tour's gone and we've had some bad luck? Is that because I'm really overtired, or is this something much worse? And is that person an arsehole, or are they just having a bad day? It's not personal to me. Yeah. They don't. And it's just giving yourself this little bit of a distance to go, yeah, you'll get knocked, but whoa, was it really somebody deliberately knocking you, or was that just because you're not feeling so steady on your feet at the moment? And that's the way I get through, really. And of course, I'm so lucky compared to a lot of people. I have great people around me. I have a great family that I can phone up and message anytime while I'm on tour. I have great guys in the band and manager. So I have a lot of people that really look out for me, and I'm very, very lucky to have that. And as well, I don't disappear after my shows. I don't go back to the hotel. I don't disappear. What I do is I sign for my fans, and I find that is a really big boost for me. The people that I've made all this effort for and dragged myself through sometimes to try and do the best work that I possibly can, I meet them, and it meant something. It's like, I really liked what you did. It's like, well, thank God, I tried really hard to do something and I hoped that you would like, and you did. And that's it. There's no spin on that. You're there in the room with the person and you're talking about your work. So that is another thing where I feel incredibly lucky that I have around the world a few thousand very loyal fans that always come to see me. And it keeps me going, so much of the time.
Yep. Here we go, Alan. You want to ask this question here?
What Brendan writes in here, what was the best part of working with Jeff Tate? I guess he's referring to Trinity, I guess. And which songs of Jeff's career are you a fan of?
Well, I think my favorite song is Revolution Calling from Mindcrime. I just often think, is there a way for me to take all the elements of that, mix them up a bit and do it again so people wouldn't know it was a complete rip-off of Revolution Calling? But so far I've completely failed to do that. But that's one of my favourites of Jeff's. He's an absolutely lovely, lovely bloke. And doing the Trinity tour was a lot of fun.
Okay. Australia. Here's a question from Robert. Are you planning on touring Australia? And I also know we got another question from somebody else. I think it's Omar. Are you planning on playing in Turkey? So what's the story with those?
The date is almost confirmed in Turkey. I think it's around the 27th of June. I'm going there acoustic with Thomas Faison. And he'll be doing his classical guitar, and we'll be doing songs from Russian Holiday and another few arrangements of my songs done with the nylon string classical guitar. So very excited about going to Turkey. With Australia and New Zealand, it's very hard to get there because I'm such a small artist and I'm underground, really. I'd love to come back. I'd absolutely love to go back. So I'm always hoping that I'll be there. And we're talking to a couple of different people and waiting for people to get back to us to see if it's viable, if we can go there. But it's something that we're hoping that we'll build up to. So far, everything with the trilogy is going well, and it seems to be building up bit by bit. So we would absolutely love to come down to Australia and New Zealand.
So Billy writes in, what kind of approach for vocals did you take when singing acoustic songs with Thomas Villain as opposed to full-on electric versions?
Well, the first thing that you have is quite a bit more space in the sound. Often with electric guitars, you're taking up the same space, and there's a little bit of a battle going on against the strong lead vocal and a strong heavy metal lead guitar. So, and you've also got a lot of other things taking up space in the spectrum with the cymbals and the drums. So you're a lot more open with the vocal when you're performing with a nylon string and just a violin. So you can actually use a lot more of the breath a lot more of the time. You can use a lot more of the edges of your voice, the particular sounds, a lot more of the time because there's space for it. So whereas on, say, the new album that I have, we have some acoustic songs and some songs that are very dynamic. Those songs are written in a way that the electric guitar makes some space for the vocal. And in other places where we know we want a strong vocal, but we want a strong guitar, those two things just go bang up there. When we're writing with the nylon classical guitar, then it's a different thing. We don't have to think about these things so much. The dynamic is there already between the guitar and the lead vocal. So it's a slightly different approach. And I love both of them. I am metal. There's no getting away from that. And I love to do my acoustic stuff. I love that openness. I love to have that.
So let's just talk about the new album for a second. March the 3rd, once again. What would be different from this album to the last album, music-wise, lyric-wise?
Well, this is darker. It's darker. I mean, for a start, you can tell just looking at the front cover.
It's darker. It's
literally darker. And then the actual CD itself, it's on the last one. The last one, it's the sun. It's a close-up. It's a close thing of the sun, and there are all these possibilities. Then this is the main character. He's come to life, really, this guy now. And this is the end of the journey of 1,000 years. That's where we started on part 1. We started at the beginning of the journey of 1,000 years. Endure and survive is what's happened. He has endured and he has survived for 1,000 years. What shape is he in? What has he had to do to survive this 1,000-year journey? And where is he mentally now? And what lies ahead? That's where we are. So we find out more details on this of what's happened and some of the terrible things that he has had to do to get through this mission. So it's darker. Overall, it's a darker album musically and lyrically.
Okay, good. Any bit of the story that you can tell us other than what you just said, or I think we're good from there?
Well, he's survived so far, and we find out about the Under Mission, which is mentioned on the first album, the Under Mission, which we don't really know too much about. The details of the Under Mission are revealed on Endure and Survive. We also find out a bit more about the relationship between William Black and Professor Brewer on this one as well. So, yeah, we found out that he knows he has a machine body. We found that out on the first album. and he has questions about the relationship with Professor Brewer, why she has done this to him. And on this album, Endure and Survive, we find out what that relationship really was and what it really means. And we find out more about why he is a machine.
Nice. I'm very excited. Actually, I put my order in last week, so I'm waiting for the album anxiously. Some more fan questions, and we'll get back to the new album. Benoit wants to know, and I think you kind of answered this, what about Russian Holiday Part 2 after the third part of the trilogy? I guess he's referring to another acoustic piece or something.
Yeah, we're working on that right now. We are working on new songs. The first week in January, then I went on a trip to Malaga in the south of Spain to work at a secret location with Thomas Faison. And we've come up with some new songs, and we worked on some new arrangements for some of my metal songs. We really, really hope that by the end of August, we will have a new acoustic album.
Wow.
Wow.
That's cool. End of August. Some more fan questions. Alan?
Stephen Donahue, where did the name William Black come from?
I couldn't know this, but
Well, I was thinking of names, and this comes from 10th Dimension album, which was the first concept album, first full concept that I did. And I was looking kind of like George Lucas with Skywalker. I was trying to think of something that you could get back to BB for Blaze Bayley, and the short for William would be Bill, so it would be Bill Black, which would be Blaze Bayley. So it was just a little giggle, really, that I thought, well, I'll call him William Black. And Black in a kids program from when I was young in the 70s, the Captain Scarlet and the Mestrons. Then Captain Black was the bad guy who'd been taken over by the Mestrons. So I thought that's where he came from.
very cool. Very cool. Jim Morrison did the same thing with Mojo Rising. Spelled backward was Jim Morrison, right? Let's just go to greetings from just a couple of greetings, all right, from around the world.
Sicily.
Sicily, Italy. Okay. We got greetings from Croatia. We have, of course, we have from Turkey. And Ma Lynch wants to know, is this album darker than The Empire Strikes Back?
I think that's a very good analogy. That Empire Strikes Back goes to that dark part of Star Wars. So it's in a similar vein, I suppose, if you look at the way that Star Wars changed and the darkness that came from Empire Strikes Back, then I think then you've got a good idea how the album goes versus the last album.
Okay, good.
It's never ending. Blaze, I mean, you got so much on your plate. Is there anything else that's coming? You spoke of the acoustic album that we should be aware of. I mean, this one's about to be released. You said acoustic album, but you never stop. I don't even know how you sleep.
Well, I don't sleep very, very well is the answer, but I do my best. No, that's it. We've been working really hard, and all of my team have been absolutely pushing as hard as they can to get everything ready to post out, so that all the fans that have pre-ordered get their albums on time. We've rehearsed really hard for the tour, and we're just really, really hoping now that it goes well. The focus now is on the live show, and while we're on the tour, on some of the days off, we've scheduled writing days where we're going to set up and jam through a few of the ideas that we had left over from the last album, a few new ideas, so that when we get to October this year, we're hoping to have a good selection of strong ideas and a lot of lyrics that come from the story to make a great part 3.
Perfect. Some more greetings. We got greetings from Finland. We have greetings from Mexico, horns up from Ivan. Greetings from New Jersey, USA. Another question from God Hates Heavy Metal. I don't get that. Are you planning on releasing a 15th anniversary vinyl edition of 10th Dimension, kind of like you did with Silicon Messiah?
Yes, we are. We're planning to do that, but I don't know when we will do it, so I don't think it will be the 10th anniversary, but we're definitely planning to do a vinyl edition of 10th Dimension. The first thing that we're doing is a vinyl edition of Endure and Survive.
Very cool.
We have most of the artwork done for that, and at the end of the tour, as long as people want it as part 2, then we'll be doing that. And that's very important to me, to make the 3 parts of the trilogy into vinyl so they're collectible. And there are fans now that only buy the vinyl. Yeah. And they'll have the download perhaps if they want to hear it in advance, and they'll only buy the vinyl, which is absolutely great. And the sound of it is superior to the CD. If you've got a reasonable turntable and a reasonable set of speakers, you absolutely can tell the difference.
Blaze, you know, your passion for your music and everything you're doing, your projects are coming through. You know, how does this differ from maybe when you're back in the heyday when you were with Maiden, where you were kind of just following the schedule? A lot of the decisions were made by upper management and stuff. I mean, and now you're in full control of your destiny. How do you feel the differences?
Well, I think I'm much smaller and I'm exactly where I want to be. One of the things in Maiden, you had the music and you worked on the music together and you had a say over the artwork and if you liked the video or had any ideas about that. And also, you know, what sort of stage sets that you would take out. There would be a band meeting about, right, what sort of thing do we want this year on the stage? What could we use? And what will the set list be? And things like that. So that was all very much a part of the band. But the release schedule and when you would tour, that was all left to management. I don't think, you know, anybody would have time to do it. The amount of interviews that you're faced with in Iron Maiden, it's just outrageous, man. You just don't get time, hardly any time to yourself. You're constantly tired and you feel that you are just shipped at that level. For any band at that level, it's not Iron Maiden, but any band at that level, you can get to a situation where you feel like you are just taken from one place to another to do something, then taken to another place to do something, and you're not actually connecting with anybody or really being anywhere. And that's one of the things I didn't like about being in a really big band, is you don't seem to connect with so many people. I come to Canada and I play smaller shows in Canada. I get to meet all of the audience. I meet the owners of the venues, the promoters. Of a great time when I've been to Canada. When I've been to USA, it's the same. All over Europe. When I've been to Brazil, it doesn't matter. Wherever I go, I get to meet people and talk about music and talk about other things as well. And, you know, generally speaking, most times, once people have got an autograph and a photo, they just don't bug you. And you can start talking about normal things like motorcycles, you know, video games and movies. So I think I'm lucky because that seems to be more of a heavy metal thing, because we have this kind of understanding in the metal community. We love this music and we may be more passionate about one band than we are about the other. But generally speaking, everything that falls under that metal umbrella, we will have an opinion about. I know whether it's right or wrong. It's just like sports in that way. I think you'll have an opinion about the team, and that's a great thing. I think about metal, and it's one of the things that makes it really interesting for me. As I travel around the world, I'm not trying to play theatres. I'm not trying to play big shows. I just like to go back to places that I like. And that is happening. And we have, I think, nearly 75 shows on this tour. And most of the places that we'll be going, we already played last year.
Nice.
And it's a really good feeling.
Okay. So actually, I want to ask you a question. So we filmed the Canadian documentary tour last year. I think it was September, October. Went great. Had a great time doing it with you. And then right after, the cliffhanger of the whole Canadian documentary was you're off to film the Infinite Entanglement DVD. And 666 Son of a Gun 22 wants to know, when will this DVD of doing the whole album with the big production, will it ever be released?
Yes, but it's going to be a very limited special thing. When we come with part 3 of the trilogy, which will be released around the 1st of March 2018, that will be part of the limited edition. So it should be a 3-disc set with the CD, the making of documentary, and that gig as the 3rd CD. So that's how it's going to be. It's going to be a very limited special edition. It's not something that I want as a standalone product, because people are going to judge it in the wrong way. It was never meant to be that. It was always something that was going to be very special, and it has to be seen from the point of view of you're already a Blaze Bayley fan, and that's how you're going to understand it. So that's why we're doing it like that.
Okay. So
and then also, Quentin Agnotte, he writes here, the book about the trilogy, is it finished, and will it be translated in French or possibly other languages?
What time do you think I've got to finish a book?
You floated it out there.
Question. Hang on, let me get a typewriter. Oh, yeah, I'm typing now. Oh God, I'm writing the book while I'm doing this interview. all of the lyrics, all of the song titles, all of the characters come from the story. About half of the book is written. The very first part, which includes rough notes and everything, that was part of the limited edition for the Infinite Entanglement album. With that, when you ordered the membership edition, you got a magazine which contained the first part of the book, the rough notes for the book, if you ordered that. So some people have got that first part. I'm writing the whole thing. I'm hoping to do a lot more on this tour, but realistically, after the 3rd album comes out, by Christmas of 2018, I'm hoping to have the book finished and done. And the first one will be a limited edition, and the second one will be a much cheaper paperback version. But it will be everything about the story. And of course, the book is bigger, really, than the 3 albums. It contains much more background on all of the characters and things that you can't describe in the album that happen in the book.
Okay. So here's another question. Malinch, at Malinch. Is the Trinity Gang going to tour again?
I don't know. We are all so busy doing different things. Tim is doing a special anniversary of his 2 Judas Priest albums right now. I've got everything to do with writing my book, coming up with the 3rd album, and it has to be good. Part 3 of this trilogy has to be as good as the other 2 parts. I just can't live with it if it's not. So I don't have time, really, and that's the way we've left it. So none of us really have time for it at the moment. I wouldn't rule it out in the future. It was a great experience, but for now, I'm absolutely passionate about making this tour as great as it can possibly be. And when we start on that 3rd album, when we start collecting all of the bits together next October and seeing what we have, that from those seeds, from those elements that we've managed to collect during the year, we have something great that we can make the next brilliant piece of work from. And I hope that we can do that. That's what we're aiming for.
We have the Kabuki Kid from Jersey says, shall we get political? He's not sure. Do you would like you know your views on Brexit?
Well, it was voted for. I think there's a lot of lying politicians, a lot of corrupt politicians. I'm not sure if it's the best or the worst. I think it's very good to have independence and autonomy and your own democracy. And that's about it, really. I don't really understand politics because I don't understand how most of them aren't in jail for being corrupt. We had a lot of politicians here that were getting their gardens done on expenses from the Houses of Parliament. It just doesn't seem right to me. Any normal man like you or me would be in prison right now. Exactly. And then there's people in the Parliament in Brussels that are using thousands and thousands of euros in a corrupt way, forging their expenses. And there are rules for different people, for different things. Oh, man, it's a mess. So I don't know what the real answer is, if it's best. I'm happy with Brexit, but I still feel European. I am European. We're a part of Europe, and I still feel that. I just think that, well, heavy metal is bigger than politics.
Yeah.
There you go.
How about I know we were talking about Canadian tour dates before. Did you get them?
Yeah.
I know they're booked. Do you have them?
Yeah. I'm coming to Canada, and what I'm going to do when I'm in Canada is I'm going to go to the Piranha Bar in August. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Montreal.
Yeah. Watch the news on the 16th of August. I'm going to the Piranha Bar in Montreal, Quebec on Wednesday, the 16th of August. I'm going to destroy it.
Destroy the Piranha.
Power of metal. I'm so heavy. I'm so metal. I'm afraid the Piranha Bar is going to be destroyed. They should take out extra insurance. Okay?
Bring out the extra piranhas.
That's right, yeah. And then Thursday, the 17th of August, I'm going to the Brass Monkey in Ottawa, Ontario.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not going to be a monkey when I've finished with it. Okay. Probably going to be a brass mouse. Or
Brass monkey,
a brass
great.
hat. I'm
The owners
so
are great
metal.
there.
I'm so metal, I'm going to destroy it. Okay.
Destroy the monkey.
18th, the Antibar Spectacle, Quebec City, Quebec, which I'm so look forward to going back to Quebec City. I'm going to destroy it. Okay. So look out there, heavy metal fans, for total destruction. Saturday the 19th, the Rock Pile, Toronto, Ontario. Guess what? I'm going to destroy it.
You're going to destroy
It
the
will
rocks.
be a rock pile after the show.
Yeah. And Sunday the 20th, East Side Bar and Grill, London, Ontario. I'm going to have something nice to eat there after the show. Okay, I'm not
It
going
will not be destroyed.
So let me tally up the destruction here. Let me tally up the destruction. We got the 16th, you're going to destroy the Piranhas in Montreal. Yeah. The 17th, Brass Monkey in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Destroy the monkeys.
Yeah.
On the 18th, we're going to Quebec City at the Anti-Bar. I think that's what it's called. The 19th, Toronto. I know there's been a lot of Toronto fans that wanted you to be there. Let's take that. Where is it? There it is. The Trou.
The Trou Diable.
The Devil's Hole.
Yeah, I'm going back there, I think. And
London. It's your first time in London. Yeah. London, Ontario, that is.
Yeah.
That's a great announcement. I'm really good.
There's a lot of and before that, we're going to be in the US. I have a new agent who is absolutely amazing. Well, he tells me he is. He's booking dates for me now. So before Canada, we're going to have some US dates. And after Canada, we're going to have some USA dates, and I'm very, very excited about it.
For you people coming in from another country or something during that time to see Blaze, all those venues in Quebec or in Ottawa are a couple of hours away, so you can hit 3 nights in a row quite easily. It'd be great to see everybody there. Looking forward to it. Blaze, we're going to promote the heck out of this when we get close to it.
And what we're going to try and do is, though we haven't got this yet, what we're going to try and do is have one small part of the set where we play a different song. So if you do come and see us 2 nights in a row, we're hoping you'll see at least one song that's different in the set list.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm really excited. Make sure everybody.
London, Ontario,
20.
the 20th of August.
All right, good stuff. So look, we have 4 minutes left before this live stream is over.
Hang on, I'll just boil an egg.
Just enough time. Ma Lynch suggests that you drink Moosehead when you come to Canada.
Why?
There's going to be a... Okay, so...
I like to drink milk. Why am I going to drink Moosehead?
I mean, I've got... How about 666 Son of a Gun says, have you ever thought of having Andy Schneep as your producer again? Really quickly, Blaze.
Yes.
Okay.
That's quick.
Was the 90s the last big time in metal for the amount of metal TV shows, magazines, and sales? That's from Savoy.
I don't know. You tell me. I'm not adding it up.
Okay. Let's just quickly go through these. Have you ever... Dejan wants to know the best moment from your last tour.
I don't know. There's so many great moments on the tour. So many, man. It's
okay.
If he's not destroying buildings.
Yeah.
Jason, out of all the material you've recorded, which 3 songs are you most proud of?
Well, that's a difficult question, and it changes with the weather and my emotions. But I think Acoustic Russian Holiday is one of the best things I've ever done anywhere. And I think on my last album, we have a song called Calling You Home on Infinite Entanglement. And, you know, it gets me every time, because there's a part of it that's really, really is about missing home. So, and I think, you know, going back to the Maiden years, then the record Sign of the Cross, that recording, I think that's still a really good recording.
Okay. Tommy wants to know, what would have been like, since we're talking about Maiden, if you continue it as a vocalist of Iron Maiden? What would have happened? I mean, okay, you've answered this many times, but again, quickly, what would have happened if you were still in Maiden?
Well, if I can look back, I don't have the benefit of the time machine, but I am working on it, and I've got a few bits and pieces here. I may be able to complete it later this afternoon, in which case I can answer that question more easily. But I think what would have happened, what I like to think would have happened, it would have dipped down a little bit, and then that third album, which would have been my album with Brave New World, then with Silicon Messiah and Stare at the Sun and some other songs that I was hoping to work with Steve Harris on, people would have gone, well, actually, this is really worth something and it's going somewhere. And I like to think that it would have gotten back up and got to where it is now. That's what I like to think. Of course, I'm a dreamer and I'm an optimist, but, you know, I'm not the only one.
Yeah. All right.
And Jim's done a great job with Steve Grimmett. Everybody, if you're not aware, he's hopefully on his way home soon. But
actually, he's home. He's home.
He's
home. He's in the UK. Steve Grimmett lost his leg while on tour, his right leg. Big charity. Tony Dolan's spearheading this initiative to write an all-star songs. Fear No Evil. See You in Hell. The Show Must Go On. And Blaze Bayley has accepted the offer to sing on one of the songs. I'm not sure which one yet. Blaze, do you have any statements for Steve Grimmett?
Well, it could happen to any of us. What's happened to him, you know, there's a lot of people at our level that go on tour and you don't know what's going to happen to you, you know, and your health, You never know where you are. In the end, you're largely self-employed, dependent on your live gigs for your money. So that could happen to absolutely any one of us. So I really wish Steve all of the best. I hope he gets well soon, and I hope he gets great rehabilitation and finds a way to keep making music and being passionate about music.
I'm trying to find a final question here as we salute. So March the 5th, March the 3rd, new album is coming out.
Yeah, you can order it now on iTunes. You get the single, and of course, as they do with iTunes, then they'll complete your album on the release date. And if you want to go look at the video, it's on YouTube, and look at any other videos of mine. You know, if you want to see these looks, which obviously a lot of people do appreciate, then you'll be able to do that. But I'd like to say a huge thank you, not just to you guys for having me on your show, but a huge thank you to all of the fans from around the world that have supported me, everybody that's bought the album already, pre-ordered it, and everybody that's bought their tickets for the tour. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for believing, and thank you for making it possible for me to carry on with this incredible journey. Thank you.
The hardest working man in metal, Mr. Blaze Bayley himself.
I'm going to end off with this question, and we're going to end off with your answer on this one here. Downfall was road.
Bananas.
The answer is bananas.
What's my greatest fear? Bananas. That's the
question. What do you think is your favorite, or what's your favorite solo album, and what is your favorite Iron Maiden album? If you were to pick just one, I mean, other with the exception of the Iron Maiden albums that you were on.
How can you pick one Iron Maiden album? They haven't all got the best, you know.
But if you had to pick one that you weren't on,
well, Brave New World, I think, is great. It's got so many great songs on it. So Brave New World, and what else?
And your favorite solo album that you've done. Like
the Smithsonian calls you, Blaze. The Smithsonian calls you, and they say, we need one Blaze Bayley album to put.
It's got to be the Infinite Entanglement. It's got to be that one, because there's so much happened there, and there's so many personal lyrics on there, and the idea of it, and what we had to go through, the things were against us and everything. So at the moment, it's that one, but you know, it could change to this one depending on how the tour goes.
All right, so let's see the album one last time. The new album, Endure and Survive.
The dark cover.
The dark. This is the Empire Strikes Back of Blaze Bayley right here, my friend.
That's right. Now he's at the end of 1,000 years. You find what he had to do to survive. This is the story of the undermission and the dark relationships that he has.
Let's do this again. This was real fun. I think everybody's got a kick out of it. There's still
comments coming in.
There's still questions coming in, but
yeah, I don't want to do this too often because I'm really lazy. Once every so often is okay, but if he starts becoming like a monthly thing, it's going to feel like actual work. So I'd rather avoid anything that feels like actual real work, and just, you know, concentrate on the fun side.
Okay, there you go.
All right, there you have it.
Great, good news all around.
Thanks, guys. Thank you to all the fans. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. All right, guys. Have a nice day, Blaze.
Great.
Bye. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Bye.